In the town of Ashrani, which lay beside a wide, flowing river, there lived two merchants. One of them was Amir, a humble spice merchant, and the other, Hamid, was a wealthy cloth merchant. While their businesses were both successful, the way they lived and viewed life could not have been more different. Amir was an honest and kind man. His small spice shop was filled with the warm, inviting smell of cinnamon, cardamom, and saffron. Every day, customers came to buy his goods, knowing that they could trust him. Amir had never been interested in wealth. What mattered to him most was his wife, Layla, and their peaceful, modest life. Layla, known for her wisdom and beauty, was not only Amir's wife, but also his closest companion. Her eyes shone with intelligence and compassion, and her smile was warm and soothing. She supported Amir in every way, helping him with his business and offering wise advice whenever he needed it. Though they had little money, they were content. Layla's beauty wasn't just skin deep. Her kindness made her even more special. She had a way of making everyone around her feel valued, whether it was a simple customer at Amir's shop or a neighbor in need. Her beauty, paired with her gentle soul, made her the heart of their home. She was loved by everyone in the town, not just for her wisdom, but for the way she carried herself with grace and humility. Across the town, just a short walk from Amir's spice shop, lived Hamid. Hamid was a wealthy cloth merchant, known for his grand home and extravagant lifestyle. His shop was large, with walls lined with colorful silks, fine cottons, and soft wool. He had many servants, and his home was filled with luxurious furniture and rare decorations. Yet, despite all his wealth, Hamid was not happy. He felt empty inside, as though something was missing from his life. Hamid was married to Mariam, a woman who, while cheerful and kind, did not share the same sharp wit or wisdom that Layla had. Mariam was simple, content with the comforts that Hamid's wealth provided, but she lacked the depth of character that Layla had. Hamid would often find fault with Mariam, scolding her over small mistakes, and their home was filled with tension. Hamid would yell at Mariam for the smallest things, burning the bread, misplacing a cloth, or forgetting something important. These arguments made their home feel cold and unwelcoming, despite the riches surrounding them. One day, as Hamid walked through the town market, he saw Amir and Layla walking by the river. The couple was laughing together, their joy evident as they spoke softly to each other. Hamid watched them from a distance, his heart filled with envy. Why should that simple spice merchant have such a wise and beautiful wife? He thought, his mind beginning to twist with jealousy. I am wealthy, and I am clever. I should have a wife like Layla. She is wasted on a man like Amir. Hamid could not shake this thought. It grew stronger each day, and soon he began to make plans. He would not rest until he had what he wanted, Layla as his wife. He began to wonder how he could go about making that happen, and he soon came up with a plan that he thought was clever. The next morning, Hamid visited Amir's shop with a smile on his face and a glint of something darker in his eyes. "Amir, my old friend," he greeted him warmly. "I have been thinking about something important, and I would like to share it with you." Amir smiled and welcomed Hamid into his shop. "Of course, Hamid. What is on your mind?" Hamid leaned in, lowering his voice as if to share a secret. "I have noticed something. Your wife, Layla, is a woman of great wisdom and beauty, but you are just a simple spice merchant. Don't you think she would be happier with someone like me? Someone who could provide her with wealth and luxury?" Amir's smile faded, and he took a step back. He had never thought of his wife in such a way. "Layla and I are happy," he said, his voice steady, though a sense of unease began to settle in his chest. "We have everything we need." Hamid laughed softly, as though Amir's words were a joke. "Ah, but Amir, you do not understand. Your wife is far too clever and too beautiful to be living this simple life. I have a suggestion. Let us go to the town judge. He will decide if you truly deserve such a wise and beautiful wife. If he finds you lacking, then perhaps you should consider letting me marry her." Amir was stunned. He had never considered the possibility that he might not be worthy of his wife's love. Doubts began to creep into his mind, and he wondered if Hamid was right. Was he too simple? Was he not good enough for Layla? But even so, he did not want to appear weak in front of Hamid, so he agreed to the challenge. "Very well," he said, his voice quiet but firm. "We will go to the judge." That night, Amir told Layla everything that had happened. He spoke of Hamid's offer and the challenge that had been set before him. Layla listened patiently, and when he had finished, she placed her hand on his. "Do not worry, Amir," she said. "I will help you. Together, we will prove that true wisdom is not found in wealth or schooling, but in kindness and cleverness." Layla's confidence gave Amir strength. He had always relied on her wisdom, and now he would again. As she spoke, she gave him a small bag of sand and a plain wooden stick. "Take these with you to the judge tomorrow," she instructed. "You will know what to do when the time comes." The next morning, Amir went to the judge's court with Layla's gift in hand, his heart heavy with nervousness. The crowd had gathered to see what would happen. The judge was a man of great wisdom, and he looked at Amir with a kind but serious gaze. Hamid, eager to prove Amir's inadequacy, spoke first. "Judge, I bring this matter before you. Amir, good man is not worthy of his wise wife. He lacks the knowledge and education that she deserves. I propose that you decide if he is truly fit to be her husband." The judge nodded thoughtfully and turned to Amir. "Very well. Tell me, Amir, if you are truly wise, then answer me this. How many grains of sand are on the riverbank?" Amir hesitated for a moment. He had no idea how to answer such a question. But then he remembered the small bag of sand Layla had given him. He took it from his pocket and poured it onto the ground. "Judge," he said calmly, "the number of grains of sand on the riverbank is as many as those here in this bag. If you wish to count them, you may do so, but you will find that it is impossible." The crowd murmured in surprise, and even the judge smiled. Hamid was not pleased, but he said nothing. The judge then asked Amir another question, and Amir answered with the same calm resourcefulness. Each time, Amir's answers were clever and full of wisdom, and soon it was clear to everyone that Amir was not lacking in intelligence. His wisdom was not in books or education, but in the way he lived his life and the love he shared with his wife. At the end of the day, the judge ruled in Amir's favor, and Hamid, though angry and embarrassed, had to accept the decision. As the crowd dispersed, Amir turned to Layla with a smile of gratitude. "Thank you," he said simply. Layla's smile was warm and kind. "You did well, Amir. I always knew you had the strength to face anything." After the judge's ruling, Amir returned home with a sense of relief, his chest lighter as he walked through the streets of Ashrani. The townspeople who had gathered at the court looked at him with new respect. Amir had shown them that wisdom did not come from books or schooling. It came from how one lived and treated others. Layla was waiting for him at their small house, her smile warm and full of love. Amir walked in, holding his head a little higher than before. "The judge ruled in my favor," he told her, his voice filled with gratitude. "Hamid has no grounds to challenge us any longer." Layla's eyes sparkled with pride as she embraced him. "I knew you could do it, Amir. You've always had the wisdom to see things clearly." She kissed his cheek gently, and Amir felt a wave of relief wash over him. Despite all his doubts, Layla had always been there, steady and sure, guiding him through the storms of life. The next day, word of Amir's cleverness spread throughout Ashrani. People who had always trusted him for his honest dealings now looked at him with admiration for his resourcefulness. They began to see Amir not only as a humble merchant, but as someone with true wisdom, someone who was not afraid to stand up for what he believed in. However, Hamid was not done. His jealousy festered, and despite the judge's ruling, he could not accept that Amir had outsmarted him. The thought of losing out on something as precious as Layla gnawed at him. In his eyes, wealth and status should have guaranteed him everything he wanted. But Amir's victory showed him that there were other ways to measure a man's worth, and that hurt Hamid deeply. One afternoon, as the sun began to set and the cool evening breeze swept through the town, Layla had an idea. She thought that the matter should be resolved once and for all. "Amir," she said one evening after dinner, "I have a plan. We should invite Hamid to our home, along with the judge, and prepare a feast. I want to show Hamid that wisdom and love cannot be bought." Amir looked at her, surprised. "A feast? For Hamid?" He frowned slightly. "But he has caused us so much trouble, Layla. Why would we invite him into our home?" Layla smiled gently, her expression calm and reassuring. "Because it is not about revenge, Amir. It is about teaching him that wealth and status mean nothing without the warmth of a true heart. He may have riches, but he lacks what we have: true happiness and love." Amir thought about it for a moment, then nodded. He trusted Layla more than anyone else. "You're right. We will do as you say." The next day, Layla set to work preparing a grand meal. She spent hours cooking, ensuring that each dish was prepared with love and care. She made fragrant lamb stews, sweet rice with nuts, freshly baked bread, and delicate pastries filled with honey. The smells from their home filled the street, making everyone in the neighborhood hungry. The table was set with fine plates and gleaming silverware, but it was the warmth in the room that would make the evening special. When Hamid and the judge arrived, they were impressed by the spread before them. Hamid's eyes immediately went to the fine dishes. He was a man who appreciated luxury, and he couldn't help but smile at the sight of so much food. However, there was something different about the atmosphere in Amir and Layla's home. It was peaceful. It was warm. There was laughter and joy in the air, and Hamid found himself feeling strangely uncomfortable. Layla welcomed them both with a smile, her beauty shining through as she spoke kindly to them. "Please, sit. Enjoy the meal we have prepared for you," she said softly. Hamid, though still a little hesitant, sat down, as did the judge. As they ate, Hamid couldn't help but notice how different the meal felt. He was used to fancy banquets with elaborate foods, but here, in Amir and Layla's simple home, everything was served with love. The food tasted good, but it wasn't just about the food. It was the way Layla and Amir interacted with each other, the way they laughed and shared stories. Hamid couldn't remember the last time he and Mariam had a dinner like this. Layla watched Hamid closely as the meal went on, noticing his discomfort. She could see that the lavish feasts he was accustomed to didn't bring him the joy that the simplicity of their meal did. After a while, she decided it was time to reveal the lesson she had been preparing. She stood up and gestured for everyone to look at the plates before them. "You see, Hamid," she said softly, "we've served you dishes today that reflect the true value of what you seek. These are the finest meals, but they are not truly worthy of your wealth and status. Just as you desire to trade what is precious to us for what you believe is better, the truth is that wisdom and love cannot be traded for anything." Hamid blinked, his face flushing with realization. "What do you mean?" he asked, his voice strained. Layla smiled. "You see, I have served you food that looks fine on the outside, but it is spoiled. It may appear to be a feast, but it would not satisfy you. This is how it would feel if you were to gain what you desire by taking away what is not yours." Hamid's face reddened further. He took a bite of the dish before him and immediately pulled back, disgusted. It tasted awful, far from what it looked like. The food, though beautiful in appearance, had been carefully prepared to look appealing, but was unpalatable. It was spoiled. Layla's point was clear. She had shown him that wealth and status meant little if they were gained through greed. The true treasure lay in the bond of love and respect. Hamid's attempt to trade what was precious to Amir and Layla had backfired. The judge, who had been watching silently, now spoke up. "Layla has shown you, Hamid, that true value is not found in material things. Wisdom, love, and kindness are more important than all the riches in the world. You may have wealth, but it has not made you happy. Amir and Layla have something much more valuable, a life filled with love and respect." Hamid was silent for a long time. Finally, he nodded slowly, his face thoughtful. "I see now," he muttered. "I have been wrong." From that day forward, Hamid's envy turned to respect. He never again sought to take what was not his. He realized that the true wealth in life wasn't in the material things he had gathered, but in the relationships he had. It was in the love he could give and receive, and in the happiness that came from living a simple, honest life. Over time, Hamid worked hard to build a better home for Mariam, focusing on creating a life filled with kindness, not arguments. Though his wealth remained, his heart grew richer as he learned the value of love, respect, and humility. As for Amir and Layla, their bond only grew stronger. Their love for each other continued to deepen, and the townspeople admired them for the way they lived their lives. They had faced a challenge together, and it had made them even closer. Amir realized that true wisdom wasn't about knowing everything. It was about knowing what truly mattered in life. And And so, the story of the honest merchant and the greedy neighbor became a lesson for the entire town. It was a story that reminded everyone that the greatest riches could not be bought. They could only be earned through love, kindness, and respect. Now from this point, the story will be continued in the next part.